show tonight. We have news, thoughts, what it says on the papers. Join the show. Local live show. Coming now. Enjoy it. Hello, welcome to the Vulcan's live show today. I hope you enjoyed the introduction there, the new introduction, and I have a few things to talk about now. I've been away for a while. I hope you had a lovely Easter and enjoyed yourself. I'm sure you did. Everyone that's listening, I'd just like to thank everyone there for the support over the last year or 2 years. I've been making podcasts. First of all, as I was saying, as the man there was introducing the show, I'm gonna go see what it says in the papers. I have the thing open now. The main news there, as I was saying there, George Mitchell was in town there earlier on. It just says Gerald Hutch found not guilty of murder. That was the main news there. That was on the thing. It was on early on the RT News. Just said inside the mind of Gerald the Monk Hutch. Articles there about him. And I see Simon Bug fined 300 over public order offences. That's going on a while. Protesters force stoppage at World Championship. I see that as someone was on the snooker table because terrible protest and terrible trouble. It's going on a while. It's quite intense. It did destroy the match there. The match was between Robert Milkins and Joe Perry. The match that was played there today. So that was the main match. It just says as well, RCU Ambassador Sudan assaulted in his home. Just says he's been attacked in his home in Khartoum. The bloc's top diplomatic Joseph Borrell said, as fighting between rivals generates gripped the nation, according to what it's saying there on the site. And then it says getaway drivers found guilty of helping commit murders. That story now was for Paul Reynolds. Two men found guilty of helping a criminal gang to commit the murders of Keenan gang members at the regional hotel. Jason Bonan, 52, a builder from Drumley Road, pleaded not guilty, and he was found to be one of the getaway drivers. Paul Murphy, 61, taxi driver from Swords. Both Bonnie and Murphy have pleaded not guilty. Meanwhile, the court found Gerald Monk Hutch not guilty. The prosecutor said Bonnie drove the BMW Jeep in St. Vincent GA grounds, waited in his car park, and drove one of the gunmen, Kevin Flat Cap Murray, away after the murder. The court was told that Bonnie was also part of a six-car convoy which drove all the gunmen away afterwards. So that was the main news there. It's like a thing out of the new thing there that's on every Sunday. I'm sure you saw it. The gangster film, the gangster series. It's quite good actually, and there's a lot in it. So I hope you enjoy that series. It's Keenan one based on Ken. Coming to me, I couldn't think of it, loving me. So that's the news then that's on the RT website. And then it just says Northern Ireland officers to be charged after photos of bodies shared. And then the business news. Ryanair plans new 40 million Dublin hangar created for 200 jobs. Link Ireland's country manager McCoo to retire. And construction activity continued to fall in March. EMD payments to conduct strategy repair a CEO. And then Roman went is most impacted by cost of living crisis. It just says mainly everything there. That's Zoom agreed deal to buy Cork-based Wolfa. They're the two brothers there, I think. No, not the two brothers. I was mixing it up with someone else. So And then the sports news on this, it's Clopale season best display as Leeds in free fall. Munster under 21, Cork Canter home, Kerry survives scare. That's the under 20 grade. Some of the matches there. Must look that up. Just says the Monday's matches. It's Cork 2-14, Limerick 6. That was the score there. And then there was Kerry then. Kerry 120, Clare 4-9. So they're doing good in under 20. And as I was saying, there's a lot of matches on for next Sunday. I didn't go through them. Wicklow had a good win there. The last day I was at it against Carlow and it was in Ockram. I enjoyed that. And then on Sunday I was at the hurling match, the Racket Cup, Nicky Racket Cup. Wicklow won well. They won the first match and I was quite convincing. So in the Nicky Racket Cup, the matches that were played the next day now in that is Armagh versus Donegal. That's the first match. Loudoun and Roscommon. That's in Dava. And then Fermanagh and Wicklow. That's a long trip. It's in Eden, Erden. It's in Fermanagh, so there's no tables. Wicklow, I think, are out in front there in that. And then the Leinster football, as I was saying there, this week's matches. If I was called Kildare, getting the verdicts and everything I've read so far. Westmeath and Louth, that's in Park Charlton, that's the first match, quarterfinals. And then Kildare and Wicklow, that's in Netwatch Cullen Park, and that's on Sunday as well. And then Laois and Dublin, that's another match, 23rd, that's on Moore Park. And then Offaly and Meath, that's in Glen Neath. So they're all hard matches to predict. Dublin will probably win. Meath, Kildare on all the spread they're winning. And Westmeath probably all out. That'll be a close enough one. So I just hope Wicklow win anyway. Be great if they won that match. So the best of luck to the team. So that's the matches then. I must go through the league again when I make another podcast. I just thought I'd make a podcast today anyway. Haven't made one in a while. And so the other news then, it's going to go through the Irish Times actually. What it says in the Irish Times. Jerry Hutch remains under investigation despite acquitting for Regency killing. Inquiry going into allegation Hutch directed organised crime, despite Conor Lennon and the Irish state's due question for the state. Uh, and then it says more about the documentary that was on tonight. I was looking at it there. Sometimes a simple act of kindness can make all the difference. That article then is about the documentary, the homeless documentary that was on there tonight. Am I here? Carrie ended up sleeping rough after her parents died during the pandemic. The title, it gives it a review here, is a challenge to anyone who has ever stepped over, brushing past, or otherwise ignored a homeless person. It is, in other words, a challenge to all of us. You feel like you're invisible, John says as he huddles in a doorway. Sitting with a cup makes you look like a bum. People don't know my past. The past includes the suicide of an uncle that sent John into a spiral of drug addiction. His story is typical of those interviewed by Alex Fagan in his humane and quietly provocative film that was on RT1. I was looking at it tonight. It was very good. Fagan makes a stylish choice to shoot his subjects head on. This forces the viewer to do something few of us have ever managed in real life. When you're homeless on the street, you meet all sorts of people, says Carrie, who ended up sleeping rough after her parents died in a pandemic. You're meeting people who are on drugs. So that is on. It was very good. That was on the Irish Times. Ed Power. It's on it there tonight. So if I was reviewing it, it was very good. And the camera work and all it was shot around Dublin. It's very impressive, and I would like to thank it. I would like to say that was a good documentary that was on. And then on the Sky, I was just going scrolling through now. The Sky News. I knew I'm going to be doing this. Prime Minister investigated over possible failure to declare wife's shareholding in childcare fund. And more about the protest assault to play at World Snooker Championship. Parents waited up to 65 hours for ambulance last winter. And by 15 convicted of murdering teenager in park is named. Forced installation of prepayment meters banned for over 85s. And Brecon Bacon's renaming criticised as symbolic attempt to look trendy. And RAF intercepts Russian fighter jets and spy plane near NATO airspace. Kremlin critics jailing outrageous war latest. And it's more about Jerry Hutch found not guilty of gangland hotel murder. It was on there on the telly there tonight as well. They were talking about it on Katie Hannon's show I saw, and it was all stuff that is terrible, really. And crime. It was talking about crime. It was talking about every kind of thing. And then it just says final curtain falls on Phantom of the Opera on Broadway after 35 years. And that's the main news. And then Harry Hill on his new Blair rock opera. He has a new opera coming out, seemingly, and that's there. And then the business news. The business news on Sky just says more about the meters there. Party's over for Middleton family as dowry sale looms. An angry buds to sign Sonic the Hedgehog in 625 million takeover. God, that's a great deal, isn't it? Millions of households to receive 301 cost of living payment back office. And Man United's share drop price as Glacier believe they can stay. That's on that. And then I haven't got any brave people news. I didn't do it this week. Just says a lot about Wicklow on it there, and a lot about various news. I'll have to do it this week anyway. I could go through a few of the papers there. So I don't have any on me at the moment. And there's an article there. How Irish is Joe Biden really? Joe Biden's visit went down very good as well. I see. I was looking at it myself on the telly. Actually, it was quite good and intelligent stuff. So and then he went to a lot of places. He went to Mayo. He went to Dublin. He was in Dublin, Phoenix Park. He rang the bell. Was pretty good. Unlike the other man in doing rallies, Mr. Trump, he was making trouble for himself and trying to be a difficult man. He is going for the president, as I was saying there, and it's going to be very difficult. And now I was just going to talk about something else. I was just going to say about Twitter. What's the main news then on Twitter? Saying what was trending. That man is let me see who's twitting. There's only one man there that's trying to make trouble for himself is Mr. Alistair. He seems to be against everything. What he says here now is the visit of Biden underscores Belfast Agreement failure. So there's good pictures there of that. He's on the news a lot on his Twitter page. That's how he makes his livelihood on all of these terrible messages he writes. About Ireland mainly, terrible stuff. One thing is there about how he was against Mr. Biden visiting Northern Ireland. The way I look at that is that man is entitled to visit Northern Ireland. He's one of the biggest name there, the President of the United States. You can't tell him not to come. This man is the cheek of him. The USA, there's an article there in Belfast Telegraph. The US exists because it rejected colonial rule, yet wishes to impose it on Northern Ireland. US demands colonial rule for Northern Ireland, says TUV leader Jim Allister. According to this paper, this man has a cheek telling the man he is not welcome and all this stuff that he just wrote on this. I did get a cut of Mr. Alistair before, but I get another cut at him. This man is it's really stuff. Some of the stuff he comes out with is terrible, and it's not helping Northern Ireland in any way. He was one of the biggest Brexit supporters, as I was saying there, and look what Brexit has done to the country. Destroyed it, dismantled it, and I really wouldn't listen to this man. I don't think other people should listen to him either, and that he is twitting. He relies on Twitter very much in a lot. So that's all I say on the matter. So if you would say the other Twitter now, the other person that's Twitter is Rashford. I say there's many people there trending. I was just going to look up the trending. On my hair, that documentary is trending as well. Well, it's not. Let me see. It's trending on the document. Yeah, the documentary on RTE. That documentary that was on tonight, Alex Fagan explores a year in life on the street of Dublin. As I mentioned there on the Irish Times, there's an article there about it. So, and then Fiona McLaughlin, she's tweeting and trending, and just says about doesn't say much more now then about for the Late Late Show either. So that is the main thing on Twitter. I look at that every so often, and and then I look at I go back to the RTE website. I think I've done the business thing. The entertainment. Christy Digan hopes daughter will carry on legacy. Frontman has said he would love his daughter to carry on the legacy, declaring that she's the only person on earth who has the right to sing his songs. And then more about the documentary there. Am I Here? Explores Dublin homelessness were broken. Philip Schofield thanks public as he returns to TV. And Double the Money, more about Fair City and other things. So I just thought I'd come back with a podcast, basic podcast really. I'll be back with another one hopefully. I have to be back in a while. I've been doing various different projects and hope you enjoyed my podcast today and I'll get back to you again. So thanks very much.